Welcome to the weekly weather briefing for the Inland Northwest from the National Weather Service in Spokane, Washington. Looking ahead, we'll be discussing a continuation of the unsettled and rainy pattern. Rain chances will continue through Tuesday before a brief break in the action with a dry period on Wednesday. Then we will return to our rainy pattern by Wednesday night. We are currently seeing some moderately breezy conditions across portions of the area with wind gusts in the 25 to 35 mile per hour range, mainly across the Columbia Basin and Palouse. These winds are expected to gradually taper off through the evening. The focus for rain this afternoon and early evening will be across the Cascade Crest, northeast Washington, far eastern Washington, and the Idaho Panhandle. Overnight, the highest chances of rain will reside over southeast Washington and into the central Idaho Panhandle. Snow levels will be around 5,500 feet today and are expected to rise throughout the week. This same location of southeast Washington and the central Idaho Panhandle will also serve as the focus for showery conditions on Tuesday, with only slight chances of rain elsewhere across the inland Northwest. Rainfall amounts in the Monday and Tuesday time frame will be light, generally less than 1/10 of an inch or so. The exception to this will be across the Cascade Crest and the Idaho Panhandle, where rainfall amounts are expected to be in the 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch range. No flooding or impacts are expected at this time. By Wednesday, most locations will see a much-needed break from the rain, albeit a short-lived one. Some sunshine will briefly make an appearance across the Columbia Basin, with many mountain locations remaining mostly cloudy. Clouds will be on the increase throughout the late afternoon and evening ahead of our next weather system. A short-lived atmospheric river event will be pointed at the inland Northwest again by Wednesday night and Thursday, which will lead to another period of widespread rain. This will be a fairly quick-moving system compared to last week and weekend, and winds are not expected to be an issue. Again, this will be a fairly short-lived system, and thus rainfall amounts will be less than what we received the past several days. Generally less than 1/10 of an inch across the basin, 1/4 to 1/2 an inch across the Spokane area and lower elevations in northeast Washington, and upwards of 1/2 an inch in the Idaho Panhandle and northern mountains. Over an inch of rain is possible along the immediate Cascade Crest. Again, no flooding or impacts are expected at this time. Beyond Thursday, there is still some uncertainty in the finer details, but the rainy, unsettled pattern appears to continue. At this time, the best chances for rain appear to be focused in the mountains, but more widespread precipitation is still a possibility. Overall, a typical autumn-like weather pattern is expected. Temperatures aren't expected to deviate much from what we have been seeing, with most locations remaining in the 50s and low 60s. Low temperatures will remain in the upper 30s and 40s, with no widespread freeze events expected within the next week. And a look at the 6 to 10 day outlook confirms the continuation of the unsettled pattern, with increased odds of wetter than normal conditions. Temperatures are expected to remain generally near normal for this time of year. So recapping what we have talked about. Showery for today and Tuesday, a brief break in the rain for Wednesday before a quick moving system Wednesday night into Thursday, and then a continuation of the unsettled pattern into the weekend. Rain amounts and intensities are expected to remain light enough that little to no impacts are expected at this time. Thank you for joining us and have a great week.